Maraming salamat po sa buhay at lakas na aming taglay, sa liwanag ng kaisipan at sa pagkakataong maipagpatuloy ang pag-aaral ng mga kabataan. Gabayan po ang bawat isa sa amin. Anuman ang bahagi na aming gagampanan, naway maging maayos at matagumpay ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral na aming gagawin sa araw na ito. Patawarin mo po kami sa aming mga pagkulang at pagkakasala. At sa aming paggawa, ikaw po ang aming makasama. Amen.
Good morning. This is Teacher Julie, your reading and writing teacher for today. Do you still remember the lesson that you had last week? Yes, your lesson was all about claims. How about the 3 kinds of claims? Okay, we have the claims of fact, claims of value, and the claims of fallacy. Now, we have another lesson that we're going to take. And this is what we call hypertext. Do you know what hypertext is? But before that class, we need to know the objectives of this hypertext or hypertextuality. And these are the objectives. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to A, find out the meaning of hypertext and differentiate linear from non-linear text. Okay, what is hypertext and what is text? Now, do you know what hyper is? When you say hyper class, it's over, beyond, or over. Okay, so we have this hyperacidity, hyperactive. So it's more active. It's simply like that. What about the word text? Now, text class is the literary theory. A text is any object that can be read, that can be read, whether this object is a work or literature, a street sign, an arrangement of buildings on a city block, or styles or clothing. It is a coherent set of signs that transmit some kind of information or informative message. Now, when we say this, when we are going to combine the word hypertext, the word hyper and text, we have this hypertext. Okay, now this is what we call what is a hypertext is all about. Hypertext is the non-linear documents by spots in the text. The reader is immediately transported to related material in the document. Content table like views such as one at the left are provided. Navigation, the document is by hotspots or overview mechanisms. Now when we say this hypertext actually are the coined words which actually has given by Nelson, 1965. This is coined by Ted Nelson in around 1965. So when we say hypertext, it is a text which is not constrained to be linear. Hypertext is a text which contains links to other texts. Okay, so that's why Ted Nelson, during that time in 1965, he was able to give this hypertext and even the term hypermedia used for hypertext. So these are the things that had given by Ted Nelson, wherein he was able to give this as an example, and he was the first one also to use these terms. Now, there are 2 kinds of text class. So we have the linear text and the non-linear text. When we say linear text class, these are the text refers to traditional. wherein you're going to read from top to bottom. So you need to go from the beginning up to the end. Generally, text printed on paper are considered as linear text, like novels, poems, short stories, letters, educational texts. All those texts we read from the beginning to the end are what we call linear text. Now, what about a non-linear text, or what we call a hypertext? The non-linear text is the opposite of text. As its name suggests, it's non-linear and non-sequential. Therefore, you don't need to go from top to bottom, but you can go from the middle, from at the end, or at the beginning. So there is no such operational organization of reading wherein you have to start from the beginning up to the end. That is non-linear. It is said to be a text in a sequential manner in order to make sense of the text. Okay? This type of text has many reading paths since it's the readers who describe the sequence of reading, nor the author of the text. Now let's find out what are the examples of this. Okay, we'll go first from the so-called linear. Let's find this one. What have you seen in this example, class? You can write your answers on the chat box. Okay, you can begin now. Okay, I can see that there are books, the word magazines, what else? The newspapers, okay? Any reading material that is actually on a printed one are what we call linear text. Now, what about the next text? So this is what we call the linear text, which was given a while ago, and it has a what I call this, a pattern from the beginning up to end, right? Just like what we had, what I told you a while ago, wherein we are telling about this text, or the linear text are the common text that we are reading, and these are the books and the magazines, etc. Okay? Now, what about this? What are these examples? What can you see in this example, class? Now, let us see. Can you tell me these things that you can see on the picture, and then you can write your answers on the chat box, or you can just raise your hand if you wish, but if you can do such, and then it's better. So you can write now your answers on the box. Begin now. Okay, there are what are this? We have the Facebook. What else? We have the Twitter, yes. What else? We have the Gmails, the Chromes, right? And other apps, okay? And these are what we call the non-linear text. So the non-linear text doesn't follow a strict beginning from time to end the time of the story. This means that some of the story is told out of a sequence. The non-linear communication is the way of communication that is thought to come from the creative side of the brain that gets the message across in a roundabout way. Okay, an example given here is that would be when you're talking to someone and they say something, and it creates an image in your mind, and you focus for more on that image to come up with a response instead of the words. According to Milton Bain's study of computer science, they answered in August 18, 2016, this is what we call an example of non-linear text. Why? Because your brain actually doesn't only give a text wherein it is something that the thought that we are talking, the thought that you had before, the common thought that we are always putting in our mind. But this time, you have in your mind wherein it is about what we call a creative one, wherein you put yourself into a certain a certain place wherein you can see a drawing, you can see a creative thing inside your mind. And this is more than a text. So this is also what we call a linear text. Now, this is now the big concept of what a linear text and a nonlinear text is all about. What have you noticed in this? The first one is an open book, right? An open book. So this is called a linear text, wherein you are going to read from the beginning up to the end. Then the nonlinear is the sequence of links. Okay? Can you see that? The sequence of links, wherein you can go from other links. You can go from other links to read a text. And this is what we call an example of hypertext. Okay. Another one here, class. We have here a home card. This home card is actually installed. Okay. Only in a few, what we call, only in a few gadgets. And this is an installed one wherein, if we're going to see this in the next part, it says here, the home card is also called a hypercard. What is this hypercard all about? So we have the Wikipedia, wherein it talks about a software application and development kit for Apple, Microsoft, and Apple IIGS computers only. So if you're going to look in, now, why it is considered as part of hypertext? Because when you're going to go to that home card, which is also a hypercard, you are going to go from one card to another. So it's the same thing that you are also going from one link, which is on the other outer. But this one, it is inside already of the so-called computer, which is only in the Microsoft and Apple IIGS computers. Now, these things are actually file formats. Wherein, what do we mean when we say a file format? It is a standard way that information is encoded for storage in a computer file. Okay, so this is what we call an improvement. There's an improvement inside the computer wherein it is already installed in it. Okay, now there are examples given here. It says here there would be some holidays photo. Okay, so you can go from other files to another files of it. So there's a jumping of files to files. So that means to say this could be a hypertext example. Okay, so these are what we call more than a text. Now, what about this? This is another app wherein I was looking for what we call this a good home, and then I have seen this. And when I open it app, it's not only a text or a word, but then there's something on it. You can listen to the author herself or himself telling you what the poem is all about. So this is so informative. This could help you go from one part to another part of this what we call app. And so when you go there, you can get other informations of different, for example, the biography of the author. The author actually reads or his poem, wherein there's a magic where you can listen to this poet, wherein he or she could explain it clearly to you. And so you're not just reading. It's more than a text. This app is more than a text. So you can call this a hypertext because it's more than a text. You will get informations more than you need. Okay. What about you, class? What are examples of this hypertext that you are into, that you are always dealing with when you wanted to get an information? Would you mind to give your answer on the chat box? And please try to give it and try to write it, right? Write it with all your heart and then tell us what you can get, what do you get from that hypertext? Examples. Okay. Let's see. All right, there are these examples given on the chat box we're in. There are game apps, right? So it's a kind of informative sometimes. What about the others? Very good. There is what we call Facebook. What else? So when you go to internet, there are lots of things. The Twitter, the Instagram. These things could help you. Okay, could help you get informations. For example, the dictionary on the apps, the Webster dictionary on the internet. Okay, it is a hypertext because you are not just going to browse, but you just have to link from other link, and then you get what we call an information more than the information you wanted. There are lots of things that you can get from this hypertext examples, hypertext apps. Now, in the hypertext, we also have the so-called links, right? That's why you can go from other links. Now, there are 3 types of links. And what are these 3 types of links? So we have the text, hypertext link, okay? Of course, it uses word or phrase to take visitors to another page, file, or document. While the image hypertext uses an image to take visitors to another page, file, or document. Now, what about the bookmark hyperlink? Now, it uses text on an image to take visitors to another part. Now, in the bookmark, if you've noticed, it has a combination of a text and an image, right? So, while in the linear, when you're going to put a marker there, it's a bookmark marker, right? But here, there's a bookmark hyperlink, wherein you can use the text and an image on it so that you can go from other part of the web. So this is what we call the hyperlink. And this could help us find, this could help us go to other sources, could look for other informations that we need. So this hyperlink is also a part of what we call hypertext, because you cannot go to hypertext unless you do not have the links. Now, actually, class, there are advantages of having hypertext. And what are these advantages? It says there, ease of tracking references. It will be easy for us to track references. For example, you just write the writer you wanted, then write the title. You can go now to that part. Now, what about ease of creating new references? When you say ease of creating new references, these are the creations of the new references wherein you can go to other link. Okay, for example, the reference of this modular activity that we are taking now. Are these also references even before? Yes, there are references even before. But there are these creations now. And what are these creations of references? So you can go to this creating new references, or you yourself, you can create your own as part of the reference. Now, information structure. So this is what we call a structure wherein there's a design which is more informative. Okay, so you just have to look for what you are going to, you just have to write and then click it, and then you can go now to that information structure that you wanted, wherein there are different designs. For example, you wanted different PowerPoint. Now you go to the PowerPoint, there are already these designs. There are already these parts wherein you just have to link, you just have to click, and then you will be linked onto it. Okay, so what design you want, what color you want. There are information structures given. And there are also global views. What do you mean by global views? It's not only the local thing that we have here. You can go elsewhere. You can go to other part of the world wherein you can get information. You can get some things you need to look in, wherein you have to go to this part. You wanted to know how much is this place, for example, or if I'm going to Europe, is there a budget on it? Okay, so this could give you a global views. You can go to any apps, and it's just a click away. Okay, this is what they call the hypertext, customized documents. So you can customize your own document if you wanted it to be, for example, you're doing some kind of a poem on a poem pre-light. Okay, you can customize it. You can have the tables. You can customize it. So these documents that you're going to file, okay, and the pile of your documents, you can now look for this accommodating part wherein this could help you more. You can get some of the data you need, and then you can customize them, or it's already a customized documents. Okay, what about the modularity of information? I say modularity of information. These are lots of modules. Okay, these are so many informative things that had already been researched, and now you can go to one research at the same time. You can go to one journal to another journal. Okay, so it could be more easy for us. Now, what about the consistency of information? The consistency of information is that it is consistent, because once you get into that kind of that, or the word that you are looking for, you just have to click if the 2020, now the 2021, or the 18th century before, it is the same thing. Is this the same definition as it is now, or is it something like it's already not a definition of it? But when you say consistency of information, you can see how this information's been, what they call this, updated. Okay, it's an updated information. It has a it is not an outdated, because you're going to use the different informations wherein you can work from one person to another. You can work from one author to another. And so there's a consistency of information, because whatever the author is telling you about the lesson, or about the information you wanted, can be also the same thing with the author that you're going to look in. Only it is paraphrased, only it is defined in other way, but in the meaning and thought is still the same. So there's a consistency of information when you're going to go on the link, or to go on the hypertext. Okay, this hypertext now, it's something like is a very good one, wherein you can look for your own informations, wherein you can search. Okay, if you need to search, there's a part wherein you need to look in, and it has a consistency of information. What about the task stacking? So when you say task stacking, you can pile different tasks. Now, you are going to ask, ma'am, can you write at the same time? You're researching at the same time? You're listening? Yes, it can be. And so this is what we call the hypertext. It is beyond the normal text that we are into. So you can have the task is stacking. And you can pile, the pile of tasks is there simultaneously. Okay, so you can do it in 3 tasks at the same time. Now, the word collaboration. You can collaborate with your friends. You can collaborate with your classmates as you go on this app, and then you try to work in, and then you can see that your classmate, even though your classmates is in Mindanao, is in other part of the world, and you go to a certain Zoom meeting or a Google meeting, and then you write all your ideas there, you can have the collaborations. You can have this kind of hypertext wherein it really gives you a convenient thing, okay? You will be more convenient to work with because you don't need to ask your classmates. It's already there. You just have to talk to it. For example, in your messenger, you chat with your classmate, and then you can collaborate with your practical research if you have this research that you are talking with. And it's easy for you because someone would go to this task, someone would go to this task, and then you go from that part, from that certain meeting or GC, wherein you chat and then you talk each other. How are you going to present? And this is a very good thing for students like you, wherein the hypertext is really a sensible. It has a meaning to the students like you nowadays during this pandemic. Really not to have the face-to-face, really not have to meet each other on in a halfway, but we can have this meeting in a halfway, in a virtual way. Okay, wherein we can collaborate, you can write, we can text, we can talk, etc. So this is more convenient to students like you. Okay, this is just an advantages given by other author. There's another advantages wherein we can relate ourselves to these things, that how good a hypertext. Now, advantages of hypertext simultaneously. We have this, the simultaneously word. So it says here, it's easier to have windows available. That's what I am talking a while ago, simultaneously. As one of the most fundamental problems in writing is simultaneity. Okay, so you can have this window where you can talk to it and you can have your meeting, and then we have the word timeliness. Another possibility of hypertext is the expansion of the timeline. So if you want it abrupt, if you want it longer to say, you can, okay? And you cannot get what we call a sickness or something, a virus, because you are in a virtual way, but you have time for each other. Okay? It can be this could be what? It could be a timeliness because it is you, okay, it is you to work in of a time that you wanted to, okay? So it says here, in a hypertext timeline, the points indicated don't have to stand by themselves, and the reader doesn't have to search a chapter or search through index to find supporting informations. So you just have, it's just what I'm saying a while ago, it's just a click away. Okay, so it is more what? It's easier, okay? That you don't have to spend much time. That's what we're talking here. Next point. Another advantages here is that the multiple paths of inquiry or the exploration. So hypertext is a very different way of presenting information than the usual linear form. Reading hypertext is just like exploration. Readers have the opportunity to read in great depth and will hopefully find well-written hypertext in even the most enthusiastic notes. Okay. So if you're going to see this, it says multiple paths of inquiry. You can go to other link, to another link, to another link. Okay, so you can search, okay, search the word that you're looking for, okay, the informations that you wanted. You can read, you can have the, what do you call this, the more great depth thing that you wanted. It's there, okay. It is well written. There are times it is not just a text written. It is something that is more creative than the other text that we have. So it's why it says here that even the most enthusiastic notes. That's why it will help you how to lessen your time, to get more informations that you wanted. So this is the advantage of hypertext. Another one, we have the individual learning opportunity. this multiple paths inquiry can be customized for particular learners or group of learners according to ability. Therefore, there's an opportunity for you to learn more. You can have individual, you can have group. Okay, if you wanted in group, there is. Okay, if you wanted to be an individual learner, there is. You can also do this. This is what we call an opportunity wherein you can customize your presentation to other people, okay? And this is a good thing wherein you can go to different paths. What do you mean by paths? You can go to different learning link, okay? So you can go to different learning link wherein you are going to have this. You are going to have this as part of your what you call daily routine habit of learning because you wanted to know more. You go from one path to another path to inquire. You go from one link to another link. That's it. Okay. Now there really is a good what you call advantage of this hyper. One of this is individual learning opportunities or group learning opportunities. Okay. Next is advantages. Number 5. We have the control, reader control. Now, you can control your own reading, right? Yes, you can control it in the linear. But here, because there are times we really want to know more, it's you that you're going to control now because you wanted to get more, you wanted to have more. So a hypertext environment gives the learning or the learner control over paths of learning. Reader control allows the learning to make choices in navigating and manipulating the content on sites as well. Hypertext allow for a non-linear movement within a document with the option of quickly returning to the point of wherein you can still go through, wherein you can have this, okay? So you can go back if you want. You can also read more if you want. So it's you can have all this, okay? You will be the one to control it, okay? And it is actually an easy way for us because we know when and how to start, where to start, how to stop, when to stop. That's it. Okay. So if you wanted more, you don't need to stop. You can read more. You can have this. Okay. So this is what we call your own, what we call this, a reader control. It is in your own, wherein the hypertext will give you an environment wherein there are lots of things that you can navigate, that you can explore. Okay. Next part. We have here the nonlinear information structure. It allows for nonlinear movement within the document with the option quickly returning to where the learners started. Okay, this is by Conklin, 1987. Conklin here actually had give us this advantage wherein it says a nonlinear information structure wherein you can quickly okay, your document with the option quickly returning to where the learner started. Okay, it can be, or you can also go to the last part if you want. It can be. So the nonlinear information structure is given an opportunity to this, wherein you can quickly return to where you start. Okay, so it's easy. You just have to go back. Okay, so you just have to click the back part, the back page, where you are going to allow yourself to go back on what you did not understand, something like that. So it's quick. It's a very quick way. Okay, it's an opportunity for you to learn these things in nonlinear information in a structured way. Okay, next part. What about the disadvantages, class? When I say disadvantages, this is actually the negative part of hypertext. Now let us see this. One disadvantage of this tool is the possibility of getting lost through the ocean of information and misinformation. It says here, because of so many, maybe sometimes you are bombarded with so many informations, there's a possibility for you to getting lost through the ocean, through that thing. Okay, ocean, because it's something like a very very wide, and what we call this is something like Titanic, gigantic, okay, place where you get your information. So there's a possibility for you to lose. Okay. Now the next part is learning through paper-based information is more comfortable. It says here. So for you, if I'm going to ask you, class, what is more comfortable? Is it learning in a paper, handling it, reading it in a way you're handling a book, magazine, or whatever there that is printed, or an information that you navigate from one click to another, from one link to another? Which do you prefer? Okay, now you can write that in your chat box again, class. Which do you prefer? Is it reading the printed one or reading the hypertext, where you can go from one link to another link? Okay, so this is an exploration. It says here, learning through paper-based information is more comfortable. Maybe because other people are more comfortable with that. But for young generations, this disadvantage of this hypertext is something like it's not a disadvantage to you. But for others, this is a disadvantage, because some people do not want going to internet just to read. Still, they wanted to read the book. Okay, myself, I would say that I love reading books. But when I see Wattpad, I see these things, reading materials on the internet, I oblige myself even to write in a Wattpad during those times. And so I love reading different informations in gadgets, wherever you are. You just have to look your gadget and try to go to whatever you wanted, right? So this is a disadvantage to the people who are actually a text lover book, wherein they don't want to read in the gadget or in an information in the internet. Now, we have their computer required. Yes, it's really a necessary thing. If you don't have computer, you cannot read a nonlinear thing, right? A hypertext. Because hypertext requires the use of computer, it says here, to read and navigate with hypertext. That means also to be reading in nonlinear, and the use of this might alter the form of reading hypertext barrier. So this could be a barrier for those who do not have computer or gadget. So this is a disadvantage for them. You cannot read an information from the net, from this hypertext, because they don't have a computer. And it is a requirement to have a computer when you're going to have your hypertext, okay, or when you are going to use a hypertext, of course. So the disadvantage, computer required. Next. Another disadvantage in the cognitive overheard, reader disorientation. Critics of hypertext concludes that the readers may lose their sense of direction or location as they move and select links in hypertext. There may occur a problem with concentration of the learner as they move on hypertext. Readers might lose. So this is a kind of wherein critics would tell us that hypertext is the reader might have this disorientation, and maybe this is a kind of disadvantage for a very young like me. That reader would be disoriented. Okay, why? Because these generations, your generations, you do not have this kind of disadvantage. And when you see, oh, disadvantage, this is a negative one, right? Because, for example, for a very young like me, opposite, okay, it's an opposite one. What I'm telling is that the readers might have this disorientation because we're not used to use the hypertext. We're not used to use the links or the other apps. Okay, that's why it is called a disadvantage of the cognitive overheard. Okay, so this is one, a reader disorientation, a disadvantage. Other one is cognitive overheard. It is the effort and concentration required to maintain what we call several tasks at a time. Now, when I say something that you're going to do simultaneously, so you have to work. How many links you open? Actually, there are times that even I have 5 links. Why? Because I have to look on what is the design used here. What is the good definition in this part? What is my goal in presenting this part? So I have these different links actually open. Now it says here, it is a cognitive overheard, is an effort, concentration required to maintain several tasks at the time. So if you cannot maintain several tasks at the time, therefore, you need to have this cognitive overhead. Actually, this is not overheard. Now, while reading on hypertext, students might experience cognitive overload as they try to keep track of multiple tasks of inquiry. A well-designed hypertext environment minimizes cognitive overhead. It's the correct already, cognitive overhead. So this is by Kip McLaughlin and Palmer in 1993 to 93, am I right? To 2001. Okay. So all these are what? All these are what we call a very good thing wherein for us, for the people who cannot go into multiple tasking, this could be a bad one. So this is what we call a cognitive overhead. Okay, it's the correction of that herd. It's cognitive overhead. So there are what we call so many things coming in your mind. The tasks are all there, and so you cannot have what we call a focus maybe on it. But if you know how to maintain the several tasks at the same time, maybe this effort is more good to you, more good to us, for me actually. Okay, because I do this every time, every now and then, because we have this so many things to do. Okay, this for education, for a scholar people, you need this. You need to have this thing, and so it is not a disadvantage, but it is an advantage. But for those people who cannot focus, who cannot go into different tasks, multiple tasks or overload tasks, this is the cognitive overhead. Now, would you mind to tell me what are these links that you are always going through, that you are always doing when you wanted to read or you wanted to get some information? Okay. Now, since this is already the last part of the hypertext, so we have the advantage and disadvantage. Now, for your assignment class, I think it's better for you to go now onto different links and try to get your own what do you call this, informations. For example, you wanted to have a good clean air, for example. Now, what are these links that you are going through? And then, would you mind to write a simple essay about this? And then you have to highlight them, the links you get, the informations on what we call clean air of the world. So you wanted to have a clean air of the world. You wanted to have a good clean air so that we can breathe well, good air. You can have this. You can use different links. And now you just you write it. You write in a whole sheet of paper, and then after that, you can pass it to your teacher, to your reading and writing teacher, and it could be an essay. Okay, how many paragraphs do you want? You can have 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs, and then try to highlight the links. You get what they call this, the information. Okay, let's find out how are you going to use hypertext. Okay, this will be your assignment class. This will be your assignment, and let's see if you really got some information on this lesson about hypertext. Now, I think class, it's ready time, and see you next time. Okay, and I would say thank you and goodbye. Have a nice day. Okay, have a nice day, and please pass your your assignment to your reading and writing teacher on the one I told you, the last part that you're going to do. That will be your assignment. Thank you and goodbye.